Medicaid planning activities shall only be performed by an attorney licensed by the Florida Bar at Elder Law PA, where they have the knowledge and compassion to protect your legacy. Contact Elder Law today for a peace of mind at 561 588 7512. That's 561 588 7512.
You are listening to the Ask the Experts show with host Steve-O. We will be right back with more experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Join us every Thursday from 6 p.m. Now, get ready for more Ask the Experts.
And we are back. I got to tell you, I could not have found two shows that just coincide with each other. So we did our assisted living show, and now we're going to be doing our elder law show with attorney Ryan Smoller. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, how you doing, Steve-O?
I'm doing good. You know, I'm still learning how to put my numbers down right, you know, from my my little toy set. But we got you, so that's the most important thing. You're following our assisted living show, and you specialize in elder law. But we're going to be talking about some other things tonight, too. But first of all, tell everybody about your firm.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Ryan Smoller. I am the owner and managing attorney at Elder Law PA. We focus on advocating for seniors or anyone who is looking to plan for their future in the fields of estate planning, Medicaid planning, and then through the unfortunate late life and after death situations such as guardianship, probate, and trust administration. So my slogan is where knowledge and compassion meet to protect your legacy, and that's what we're here to do, protect your assets for you and your family.
Well, I got to tell you, 2 weeks ago, I'm not going to give out his name, a restaurant owner, which I've actually asked you about, very, very high-profile restaurant in Lake Worth on the water, told me your firm has got the most incredible reputation. And for this guy to say that, I mean, I really trust him, but he spoke so highly of your firm.
You know what? I appreciate that. And being I say a young lawyer, I've been practicing now a decade, but being we'll say a young lawyer in the community, hearing the community is my favorite part of the profession, knowing that I'm helping people in and around where I work and live. So I appreciate the kind words.
Well, now your office is in Lantana. Are you seeing any growth from people from New York or from the East Coast moving there?
Yeah, and I wouldn't even limit it to the East Coast. We signed up a new client today from Arizona. I think in general, people are coming down to Florida. I think whether it's climate, taxes, or the fact that Florida may be allowing a little bit more business than in some of the states out west. Real estate is at an all-time premium, and so for an estate planner, elder law attorney like me, I'm seeing an increase in all types of transient clients.
Exactly. Well, tonight we're going to talk about pet trust. Ryan, pet trust? Wow.
Yeah, so I've come on the show a couple times, and we always talk about, the doom and gloom of what to expect late in life and Medicaid and nursing and all those things. And absolutely, my firm takes those matters seriously. But I figured we'd touch some topics that all coincide, but might be a little bit more fun for the audience.
Well, tell me, what is pet trust?
Yeah, so it's simple enough. When you get late in life, Steve-O, when you grow up, you're going to want to save, make sure you have a plan in place to save for your loved ones or friends. But if you own a dog or a cat and you want to make sure that dog or cat that might survive you has a pool of money to ensure that whoever you give it to doesn't feel the burden of now owning your pet, my office or any elder law or estate planning attorney can create what's called a pet trust. And what you're simply saying is, Steve-O, you're going to leave your dog or cat to your sister. And in addition, you're going to leave a pool of money that your sister can only use for the dog and cat, or the dog or cat. You might leave your sister a whole inheritance, but all a pet trust is you want to leave a certain amount of money to ensure that your pet is taken care of. And you may not think that's a big deal, but you could imagine there's some Palm Beachers and there's some
Yeah.
people that have lots of dogs and cats, and they may not have children. And so to make sure that that dog and cat is treated the way they would want their pet to be taken care of is a big deal. So voila, a pet trust.
You know what? It's funny you said it, because last night my girlfriend and I dined at that center where Carmine's is, and we saw so many elder people with, some of them had two dogs, not just one, but had two. And I'll bet you at least 20, 25 people walking around that center over there with their dogs who were elder.
I believe it. There's a famous story where a very, very, very wealthy woman, we're talking, hundreds of millions of dollars, wanted to spite her family, and she left them all out of her trust and left it all to her pets. And it's legally binding. Now, I think there's some probably personal issues we could talk about, but legally you can say this money is only to be used for my pets. Keep your hands off.
Well, before we get into more questions, I have to ask you this. So Larry King just passed away, and I heard that he left his will on a napkin.
Yeah, so
for his
it's
kids.
funny. Yeah, it's Florida requires witnesses and a notary, so it's got to be a pretty big napkin. But if it's simple enough that says, hey, I want to leave everything I own, my name's Larry King, I want to leave everything I own to my two kids, 50-50, and it was signed and witnessed and notarized, it absolutely would be legally binding. So creating a will doesn't take a lot of formalities. Obviously, my office would put it on paper, but absolutely that's a possibility. Some states don't require a notary, so I believe it. I haven't seen it, but it could be.
Why would somebody with his the amount of money he has not go to an attorney like you? Why would he just put it on a napkin?
It's probably one of those things. A lot of celebrities don't believe they're going to die, and so he probably never made the arrangements. A lot of my clients don't want to hear or think or focus on their late life disabilities or their passing away. So it's very common for people to just put their head in the sand and not plan. And I tell my clients, you're not jinxing yourself by coming in and creating a plan. You're just the same way you were successful in business or in your relationships, having a plan, having a worst case scenario in writing just allows you to enjoy the present so much more.
So how do you create a trust to protect your children from themselves while still giving them gifts?
Yeah, good question, Steve-O. So when you create a trust, you're leaving a gift to an individual. Now, there's nothing that says you have to leave it to them all in one fell swoop. So if you were a parent and you had some kids that you absolutely loved, but maybe weren't very good with money, or maybe they had criminal or substance abuse issues, you would want to do a couple things. One, you'd almost want to leave them an allowance where you're telling the trustee that you only want to give them money, maybe a couple of $1,000s every couple of months, or you only want to leave them money if they get married, or if they buy a home, or if they hold a job, or if they obtain a college degree. So you can be very, very specific to your trustee in writing and say, I love my daughter, but she spends money like water. And so I don't want to give her my entire estate because it'll be gone before they finish burying me.
Right.
So one way would be to specifically let your trustee or direct your trustee to give money at certain time frames or at certain markers, weddings, whatever it may be. The other idea, or the other option, not even option, but I almost do it automatically in my trust drafting, is you put a spendthrift provision in there, which means your kids cannot use the money they're going to receive in their trust as collateral, meaning they can't walk into the new car dealership and say, hey, I don't have 20K to put down on a new Benz, but my dad's got this juicy trust that he's going to leave me when he dies. So let me use the trust as collateral, knowing, Mr. Benz dealer, you'll get the money as soon as he dies. So I put a provision in the trust that says your gift cannot be used until it's out of the trust and into your hands. So elder law, as myself as an estate planning attorney, tries to make sure we can accommodate everybody. As you know, there are people who love their children but don't trust their children.
Right.
So saving them from themselves by being creative in how they leave the money and making sure there's some specific provisions saying they can't spend the money till it's in their hands really, really, really helps families more than they even know, because it's usually after death that those provisions become key.
You know, Ryan, I got to tell you, what is so great about your firm and about you being a elder law attorney, you can't do this yourself. You've got a checklist in your head, and it's so long, and someone who tries to do this himself, there is no doubt they're going to forget something, and it could be very costly to them. And to save a few bucks, it just doesn't make any sense, because, you know, the more we have you on the show, there is so much you've got to know. I mean, whoever thought about a trust for pets? But it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's a good point. You know, one of the things I do for my, probably we'll call it eldest clients, is Medicaid planning. Medicaid planning, very simply, if you listen to my show, we went into it, but basically it's the ensuring that you can get your nursing care paid for by the state. And in order to qualify, there's a whole lot of different economic restrictions. And so I might have a client come in who has a power of attorney that they did off the internet. And so their son says, hey, I need to protect dad's savings so he can get on Medicaid. Well, if that power of attorney was just a roughshod document that they found online or that they bought from a non-attorney, I can't even begin to help them. So you're absolutely correct. Spending a couple extra dollars to make sure it's done properly and to make sure it's going to last you through your end of days is absolutely worth it. And if you want to save money and cut corners, there, as with most things in life, there's going to be a price to pay, because at the back end, you're going to see those corners that were cut. And so I pride myself on planning for someone's immediate future, but then also having in mind that their late life, the parts that they don't want to think about, I am at least thinking about. So
Right.
I appreciate you pointing out the attention to detail.
Well, you know, I want to tell everybody we're going to go to break, but I want people to understand that everything we've heard about your firm, you're one of the finest estate planning firms here in South Florida. And even if you have a plan put together, you might want to call Ryan tomorrow and just get a second opinion. There's nothing wrong with something as important as your future money, that you might call him tomorrow. And Ryan, give everybody your phone number at the office.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So I'm glad you mentioned I do free consultations and free document reviews. My number is 561-588-7512.
And you know what I love about Ryan is he doesn't talk over your head. He makes everything you can understand where he's going, and that's, to me, so important. But we're going to go to break. We'll be back with attorney Ryan Smoller from Elder Law.
At Elder Law PA, they bring you the support, experience, and knowledge necessary to aid you in determining how to distribute or manage your estate after your death. This can also include your wishes regarding dependent children, individual with special needs, and pets. Effective estate planning may help avoid costly conflicts between heirs. Elder Law PA handles such cases as Medicaid planning, wills, guardianship, probate and trust, estate planning, and special needs planning. In Florida, there are several strategies available to protect your savings and assets before you apply for Medicaid, as well as programs to offset the cost of home care, assisted living, and nursing homes. The Florida Supreme Court has declared that Florida Medicaid planning activities shall only be performed by an attorney licensed by the Florida Bar. At Elder Law PA, where they have the knowledge and compassion to protect your legacy. Contact Elder Law today for a peace of mind at 561-588-7512. That's 561-588-7512.
And we are back. The show is Ask the Experts. This is our 6th year with Ask the Experts. We're on every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7 with South Florida's finest attorneys, doctors, financial people. Tonight we're talking about elder law and also estate planning. And we have attorney Ryan Smoller with us. Ryan, what about, can I write off charitable gifts my trust gives away?
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. It's an important question, and I'll tell you why. There's a very good chance that not in 2021, but going forward, the estate tax limit is going to be lowered to a number that more families or more retirees will hit at their death. And so a lot of my clients in seeking to keep their total value and their total, let's call it, earnings of the trust down, absolutely want to leave gifts to charities that they find important. So the answer is yes. If you can find a charity that you want to leave to, you don't have children, you've already left everything that you want to your pets, you absolutely can write off, or I should say your trust can write off charitable deductions just like an individual can.
Well, so what kind of gifts should I not make while living that should wait until after death?
Yeah, and so this question, I'm glad you asked that. This question definitely falls onto the Medicaid side. I have clients that come in and say, I want to apply for Medicaid. I have no money. This should be easy. Go. But the first question I ask is, well, did you have money? And they say yes. And I say, well, where did it go? And they say, well, I left it all to my kids. I gave it all to my son to buy a truck. And that was a couple months ago, and I can't get the money back. Well, they've just screwed themselves out of being able to apply for Medicaid. Medicaid doesn't allow. And so the real answer, it was somewhat of a trick question, is you should never be leaving gifts to your children before you die. If you do want to leave gifts before you pass, it should be done through a trust, or it should be done through some other creative strategy that my firm employs regularly. But really, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you highlighted that, because the real answer is do not leave gifts without consulting with an attorney. If you're going to mess up your Medicaid application, at least make sure you did so after getting the advice. I've had clients that say, hey, I'm leaving my kids a gift. I don't care what you say. Well, okay, I gave you the free consultation. Do whatever you want, but at least know the downside of what your actions are.
So you must do a lot of tax planning also.
So tax planning always kind of meshes with the estate planning that I do. I certainly point out to clients when income tax will be an issue, when and when not estate tax will be an issue. I do a lot of contract drafting where maybe my client as a mother or father is paying their child as a son or daughter to be a caretaker. So I don't focus on tax planning, but almost by coincidence, I
Yes.
have to weave it into my consultation and my uh, really advice to clients. So it hits here and there. No, I'm not a CPA, but I absolutely work with a lot of CPAs, and we share information all the time.
So we just got a text from a listener. They want to know, with the new administration, should an elderly person know the new laws that are the laws that are going to change?
Yeah, well, some of them already have. There's already been new laws in effect as it relates to how your IRA will be distributed, or any retirement account will be distributed to your children after death. I won't get into too much detail, but it's called the Secure Act, and it will absolutely affect if you have an individual retirement account, a 401k, a Roth IRA. The rules as far as how and when it can be distributed to your children have already changed. The rules regarding the estate tax limit for 2021 have already came out, and they have not changed. We're still over $11 million before you need to pay estate tax. So the answer is yes, you should be aware of rules. The maybe longer answer is come in, have a free consult, and we can discuss how specifically they may affect you. I'm just kind of spouting off some rules
Right.
that I've heard about recently. But when we meet in a more intimate setting, I can speak to you about exactly how the new administration might affect you and your family's legacy.
We were talking about gifts, and when can a person put their kids on the deed, say, to my house?
Yeah, good question, and it kind of coincides with the question you asked a couple minutes ago. You don't want to put your kids on your house for a couple reasons. One, as soon as you put them on your house while you're living, you're now stuck. If you want to refinance, if you want to rent, if you want to sell, you need to get their permission. And I don't need to go to law school to know that most of my clients don't want to have to ask their kids for
Right.
permission. They want to do something with their house. The other real reason is by putting your kids on your house, and this goes back to the question you asked a couple seconds ago, Medicaid sees that as a gift. The state of Florida sees that as a gift. If you put them on as a 50% owner of the house, you've now gifted them 50% of the value of your home. So the answer simply is do not put them on the deed as a co-owner. If you come and meet with me as an elder law attorney, I can present to you some alternative ways to make sure those kids get the enjoyment out of the house maybe while you're living, and then after death, ensure that they can get ownership of the home without having to go to probate, without having to hire an attorney. I like to say within a couple days after your passing, the home will be safely in your children's names without upsetting any of your plans or public benefits during life.
I tell you, Ryan, one of the things I love about you is you as a estate planning attorney, you deal in probate, but you always seem to talk about keeping people out of probate. And that's pretty nice.
That's it. I literally end my consultations with a client from estate planning that says, if I've done my job correctly, your kids will not need to meet with me for very long at your passing. And they almost laugh, but the idea is I'm not here to rack up bills for your children, to go to court, to get your assets in their name. If I can put an efficient and simple plan together while you are living, that's my goal. And then from there, you now have trust in me. You'll pass my name along, and I can work for your friends and family. I'm not here to, be the never-ending retainer. So absolutely, I'm glad you mentioned that. My goal is
probate
always
gets expensive.
probate gets expensive. You're hiring attorneys. There's filing fees just to get Palm Beach County or whatever county you're in to open up the file. You got to send notices through publications. There's costs and fees for, I would say, at minimum 4 months. At maximum, we're looking at least a year, 2 years. So the goal really is to pay money up front, get your plan in order up front. And so when you're late in life and after death, your kids just need a couple, tips here and there, but they're not looking to hire an attorney to sit in court for 4 to 10 months.
Ryan, give everybody your phone number.
Yes, again, thank you, Steve-O. Again, I do free consultations, free document review, 561-588-7512. And I service Broward, Palm Beach, all the way through the Treasure Coast.
And he is absolutely one of the best. Ryan will be back with us again next month with more Ask the Expert. Ryan, thank you so much for your help.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it, Steve-O. Thank you for your time, and thank you for everybody for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Ask the Expert Show, featuring interviews with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Call our office at 888-574-6999 to become one of our experts on the show. And tune in again next week for more Ask the Experts with Steve-O.